So yeah, guys, we have the holy grail for Sony shooters, and I don't know why Zeiss loves particularly the Sony E-Mount, but this glass is available only for Sony. Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Thomas Love here from One Lens Only, and today I'm also happy because I am spoiled about image quality, and I love particularly two brands of glasses, Leica and Zeiss. Also some Leica are not so bad, also some Voigtlander for rangefinder cameras, but for this particular, which is a recent release, it's my Sony A7C Mark II, and it's leveraging the E-Mount. Now, the Sony E-Mount happens to be the only one to have what we call the Zeiss Loxia. Loxia is made of 5 different glasses, and I happen to have just received this brand new one, which is the 25mm. Look how beautiful is the box. So I am opening it for the first time together with you. I want to show you this Loxia 25mm. Now inside the box we have other things. We have the manuals. We have, well, it's a nice Sony Zeiss blue, the interior, and the whole glass is made of metal. Now bear with me because I'm removing the plastic, so even the lens hood is made of metal. It's a tactile pleasure. Now, apart from the image quality, which I love also much when it's pairing Sony, especially this sensor, it's a 32 megapixel full frame. It's a very good one compared to paired to the Zeiss high image quality and color science that gets very well along with Sony. Now I have to say, this Loxia is not so different from what was my very first glass. For this mount I had the Zeiss 55mm f1.8, which I adored, but it was a bit too narrow, especially for Europe, especially for streets. So I ended up, because I'm using it as a workhorse, to the Tamron G2 28-75, which I'm using right now for this recording, and I will be using tomorrow, because tomorrow we have some guys coming over from the UK because he has to propose his fiancée, and so I'm supposed to shoot videos and photos of this thing happening. But I want to have the chance to, yes, of course, zoom in and use my brand new speedlight, but also use some wide angles. Now 25mm, it's not so much wider than 28, but trust me, you will notify the difference once you start shooting. Now, as you can see, the filter thread is 52mm, so I'm having an adapter because I only have filters that are 67mm in diameter for the other glass and for most of the Tamron glasses. But let's discuss this Loxia even before mounting it, and then we will mount it together and see the difference in size and in setup when you switch from working setup to entertainment setup, because this is supposed to be my teeny tiny amusement park. So the most important thing that you need to know about the Loxia line is that it is a fully manual glass, meaning that not only the autofocusing will not work with this, you will have to manual focus, but also the f aperture is manual. So you will have here the ring, which is clickable, not declickable, so it will not be a good choice for video stuff. So if you are producing movies or recording videos, this is not a big help because it's not declickable. So I suggest you go with variable and the filters. We can have a different discussion. There is this blue sealing, so it's kinda weather sealed, despite Zeiss doesn't have anything about it, but it is kind of weather sealed. And the most important thing for a manual glass nowadays is to have the EXIF exchange contacts, because you want this glass to be able to talk to the camera for many reasons. You might think you might need to know what f aperture you use when you shot the file that especially if you are shooting RAW, it's nice to know what you did, what were the settings in the camera. But the most important thing to have these active contacts, in my humble opinion, is that if you have them, the moment you start moving the focusing mechanism, the camera will, by itself, if you allow it to do it, magnify on the focus point. So to double check and to confirm focus, you can use the focus peaking in your camera despite the manual glass, and that would be a great use, a great help. Now, if you are used to shooting rangefinder like I am, you will eventually also start zone focusing with this glass, because with 33 megapixel, if you need to reframe later on, you can do it. And zone focusing with this glass, it's very simple, because as you can see, you switch from 2 meters to infinite, meaning that if you are doing street photography, you just set it to infinite or to 2 meter, and then with an f8, let's say, so that would be f8 and 2 meters, you're good to go. So stay tuned, because next week I will be visiting Milan downtown, and we will see if I still have it, because I'm now shooting only portraits of couples and families, and so I want to see if I still have it with street photography with this Sony in Milan. So stay tuned with that. So apart from that, I have to say it's a beautiful, beautiful construction. The barrel is great. It's metal. It will take fingerprints on it, so if you have grease on your hands, you will see it on the metal of the mount. And it's a tactile, it's so smooth, and the focusing ring, it's so smooth, and also the f aperture is kind of smooth. Now, the only thing that I realized watching other reviewers is that you can only take this glass by this teeny tiny part when you want to put it in your camera. So when you want to mount and dismount, there's a super tiny part when you can read the f aperture, and it's the only thing that you can hang to if you want to rotate the glass. So you need some getting used to it. Apart from that, I think that it's a beautiful glass, and I can't wait to go out and test the image quality. But for now, I want to show you how it is to mount it on my camera. So I will dismount the actual Tamron and the Nisi adapter. It's a rotating bracket that I'm using when I'm working, and it's so easy because it has the Arca Swiss mount integrated in it. I don't want to screw anything on the base of the camera, but with this one I can go back to having the additional Sony grip, because with my hands I really need an additional grip if I don't have the Nisi mounted on it, if I'm using the camera on a tripod. So if you're ready, let's dismount the Tamron and let's mount this one. Now, super easy. Let's say that we want to take care of the Tamron. We put back the lid and the hood. And now, in order to dismount the Nisi mount, I will need to take the tool and remove this, because it's so big that it doesn't allow to push the button for removing the glass. So this is a limitation that I had when I picked up the Nisi, and I was aware of it, so no worries about that. And now we have our camera. As you can see, it's such a teeny tiny and compact and lightweight EDC. It's comparable in form factor to other rangefinder cameras. I don't want to mention Leica, of course, but this is the impression that you have. And now we need to align the contacts. And I will have the blue dot aligned with the white one, and then we need to put it in position. So now we have this teeny tiny glass, which is 25 mil f2.4. Now we will discuss also the f aperture. And now that we have this in place, I can go back to mounting my Sony grip. So we're back to leisure use of the camera instead of the professional one. What do you think? I think it's reasonable in size and we're getting great results. Now, just to compare, see how bigger the Tamron glass was, but that's a zoom glass, so it's not comparable. Now let's go back to the camera because I will start recording with the Zeiss glass. Now, I put myself on a cage because it's a manual focusing glass, and so I set the distance using my cheap Motorola as a monitor just to double check the focus because it's an arm distance. And now I am recording with the Zeiss glass. Guys, I had to close it down to f3.2 because otherwise it was too bright. It's a bit wider if you see compared to the Tamron because this is 25mm compared to the 28 that I had before, and this is also an f2.4 compared to the 2.8 I had on the Tamron. Now, I don't think it will make any difference because it's not so brighter 2.4 versus 2.8, but since this is an old conception glass, it's not the latest released glass from Zeiss, it's still of course super good, but if you close it down instead of shooting wide open, you had a bit more contrast, a bit less fringing aspects, distortions, whatever color. We will test it, of course. We will test it in the real world, but so far so good. I'm very happy with my purchase because you might know if you follow the channel for a while, I paid only 415 euros, taxes and shipping included for this glass, which retails for 1300 normally. So let me know what price they sell it in your country, in the US, B&H, Zeiss, in Germany, whatever, but this is the deal of the century, at least for me. Now, lenses come and go. You know, I change glasses before settling down for the Tamron as a workhorse, but this one, since it is such a big deal, this is gonna stay with me as long as I'm using a Sony camera. So let me know down here in the comments if you have any question about this glass, about the way it has been assembled, about the end results, and stay tuned because we're gonna test it in the real world next week downtown Milan for some sweet street photography, and I will be proudly using my Zeiss paired to my Sony and enter the Leica store as I have this habit of visiting them every time that I visit Milan. So with that, I hope you got some value out of this video. If you did, please remember to like it, share it on your social media, subscribe to the channel so you won't miss any videos to come, and I guess I will see you later. Thank you. Bye-bye.